My better half cooks food at the home. And if I go outside in the restaurant, we have a different taste than we are having food at home. Now, why those different tastes are there? If the person is adding the same ingredients, if my mother-in-law is serving food to us, the taste is different. My wife is cooking, the taste is different. Why? And if I'm cooking, the taste is totally different. It's the formulation science. How it is added, when it is added, the temperature, everything makes a difference in formulation, and that is having the impact.
When you work in such a competitive market, tell us what really differentiates in.skin there beyond your philosophy when it comes to product approach and of course the outcomes also that you've seen.
We call it as a 4D approach of designing the products. In pharma, we have to look at the drug, which is the first D. Then we have to look at the disease that we are treating, the destination where we want it to be delivered, and the final D is the delivery. And all these are working together. We have to see all the components simultaneously to come up with a product that can deliver the drug at the destination to cure the disease.
If you were to strip it down a little bit and speak about the basic needs of skin, what are those pillars?
Hope is needed to have that healthy skin. H stands for hydration. Then the next is O, which is having a proper oil balance. Third one is the protection. The barrier is properly there and it should be intact. Otherwise, what will happen that any invading bacteria can cause the infection. And which is very critical is ecosystem. The ecosystem of that cells, the healthy cells, and having the dead layer, the stratum corneum, which is resides on the top. Now let me bring one more critical concept which is very well established in pharma world, is the synergism. In Hindi we call it as ek aur ek 11. If we are having two molecules added together, they perform better than they are individually used. If we are having 1 + 1 is equal to 2, we call it as additive effect. But if the effect is 1 + 1 is more than 2, we call it as synergism. Is the key over here in the formulation science.
What would really define the next big innovation in skincare?
When we talk about the diagnostic innovation and again towards more personalized therapy, can we have just click an image, upload it, and it can give you the entire skin condition, whether it is hydrated or poorly hydrated, the pigmentation is proper or not, the acne, and all those conditions can be easily diagnosed using the available tools, be it AI or data analytics, and then getting all the necessary information. So this is where the future is moving.
Now, at a time when consumer and personal care brands are multiplying by the dozen, choice has never been greater and clarity has never been harder, which is exactly why we're bringing you this special conversation today, shifting from mere trends and quick fixes to the science behind skincare. Consumers are becoming sharper, seeking results that last and not just promises that sell. And that's where in.skin comes in. Built on a formulation-first philosophy, rooted in pharmaceutical science, grounded in skin biology, barrier health, as well as proven ingredient efficacy. And to talk about this, we have with us today Dr. Deepak Chitkara, who is, of course, a professor at BITS Pilani and also the founder of in.skin and Zernyx Innovations. Balancing roles across academia and entrepreneurship, he brings a unique perspective on building science-backed skincare. Dr. Deepak, great to have you here at the YourStory studio.
Yeah, thank you, Shivani, for having us.
Well, Dr. Deepak, let's get straight to the first question, right? We do know that in.skin is deeply rooted in skin biology, backed by science-led formulation-first approach. So if you can walk us through the core philosophy behind your brand.
If you look at the skin, there are certain facts which most of the people know, that skin is made up of dead cells. The topmost layer is dead. But if we look beyond, if we go slightly deeper into it, there are live cells which are present, which are interacting with each other, as well as with the extracellular matrix in which they are present. So let's see it in a way that we have the cells, and those cells are not just hanging here and there. They are present in a matrix, and that helps in communicating with each other. That is one part of the story. If you look further ahead of that and come on the other side, we have the good bacteria that resides on the surface, and all these things are interacting with each other. It is looking from an angle that on first stage we are having skin, which is the barrier, and the sole purpose why it is created is the protection from the external environment. So it is in fact the first layer of defense that our body has. Now, in order to function properly, it has to interact with the cells. Those cells are interacting, communicating with each other and communicating with the bacteria to maintain the balance. And that is what understanding we started building upon. And coming from the background which I have, which is the pharmaceutical sciences, and learning various concepts that how the biological system work, how they communicate with each other, those complexity are present in the skin as well. Skin is no exception in that case. When we talk about the problems, the skincare concerns which the consumer have, in order to provide the best result, that understanding is needed. That why that is happening, what is the reason behind it. And that is from where the core philosophy of in-skin comes in. First, understand the biology behind it, and then develop the advanced products that can work with the skin and help in maintaining that balance. I'll just give you one example over here. This is somewhere around 2007, one of the class that we were taking during the PhD program. There is a course we have which is signal transduction. Basically, it is taught in that how different cells communicate with each other, what are various mechanisms which are happening. And the professor came in, it was probably the first class of our lecture, and the professor came in and drew a circle on the blackboard and just started doodling on that, wrote many lines on that particular circle, and then asked us, what do you see? And as usual, being the students, we all are confused what he want to convey. And it is what he said, that this is what we are going to learn. Means there are lot many connections, and still our knowledge is evolving around it. We are still learning, and our understanding every day is growing. So it's been around 2 decades now. We are deep rooted in that science, learning various concepts, how the pharma is working, what are those biological interactions and how they come in. Then we realized that in case of skin care, what is happening? It is basically a market first approach. We see the consumer and try to provide a solution to them. But on the other side, being from the science background, we also try to understand, can we develop products that can solve those real problems, which is deep rooted, and we can utilize the scientific knowledge to solve those problems. And that is how the in-skin evolved. If I put it in simple words, we are looking at the understanding of the biological environment in which the skin is present and how they are interacting with each other, and developing the advanced products that can cater to the skin and provide a balance.
Right. And I like the way you use the word balance, right? Because that's essentially what's required now with so much of choice in the market. The market is crowded, competitive. If you look at the India beauty and personal care market, is valued at about close to 2,43,000 crores. So when you work in such a competitive market, it is of course important to go much deeper, literally into the layers that you explained, right? Because a lot of products out there, just looking at the market, just looking at ingredient first approach. So if you can tell us what really differentiates in-skin there beyond your philosophy when it comes to product approach, and of course the outcomes also that you've seen.
One of the concepts that we have deeply learned is an approach, we call it as a 4D approach of designing the products. If we are designing any new product, it cannot be designed in silos. That we want, let's say, a cream, a moisturizer, or let's say we want to design a serum. That doesn't work that way in pharma. In pharma, we have to look at the drug, which is the first D. Then we have to look at the disease that we are creating, the destination where we want it to be delivered, and the final D is the delivery. And all these are working together. We have to see all the components simultaneously to come up with a product that can deliver the drug at the destination to cure the disease. This is how it works. Let's take an example of hyaluronic acid over here. It's one of the molecule that has been used in beauty care like anything. You can find in almost all the products, you can find that, and it's really a good molecule. It can help in hydration, and this is what the skin also needs. It needs to be hydrated. Now, the question can we ask to ourselves and to everyone is, which hyaluronic acid? And when I say which hyaluronic acid, I mean to say over here that hyaluronic acid is a polymer and there are monomers in that. So the molecular weight of hyaluronic acid also makes a lot of difference from which source you are getting it and what molecular weight you are using. If you take a higher molecular weight hyaluronic acid, it stays on the surface and provide hydration over there. If you go to the medium molecular weight, it can have some penetration in the middle layers, stays over there, and provide plump effect and again the hydration properties in the middle layers. Even the smaller molecular weight or the low molecular weight can even penetrate deeply. Now the question that we ask over here, that which one is good? Or do we need a combination of these to provide? Definitely the skin is a balance, right? Where you need the hydration, you want the water to be trapped inside to keep it hydrated, as well as you don't want the water to go away into the environment. So the selection of the right ingredient makes the impact, and that comes from the formulation approach when you are fixing it in terms of looking at the disease. Let's say if you are looking for the dryness, if you are developing a product for dryness where the evaporation is very fast and the skin is getting dry, so we can go with the combination of hyaluronic acid, or we can have a slightly higher molecular weight that stays and trap the moisture on the skin, on the top of the skin. So likewise, selecting these molecules, selecting the right ingredients is the key over here. Now another thing that comes out from it, that we call it as 3R. You have the right ingredient. As I've said, for hyaluronic acid, you need to identify within that also which one. First one is the right ingredient, and then the right concentration. How much is required? Do we need a very high concentration? One thing we know, that skin is a barrier. Naturally, it has been made so that nothing penetrates in. So should we keep on putting so much of concentration and may see the side effects? What is the optimum value that is required? Means the right concentration. And the third R is a right delivery strategy, or where you want it in that skin. So these 3 R's come up with to make our products, right? Starting from the very simplest product, which is just a hydration booster. But in that also we are using different molecular weights of hyaluronic acid, so that you can have the overall balance achieved in that. And likewise, if we move further, what combination is needed and why that is needed.
If you were to strip it down a little bit and speak about the basic needs of skin, hydration being one of them, what are those pillars? I like the way you spoke about the 4Ds and the 3Rs, but what are those basic needs, if you can take us through the pillars? And also, when you speak about these popular elements now, right, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, peptides, all of that, how do they work in combination together? And how does the consumer sort of decide the requirement and the concentration as well?
Let me put it in a different way. Whenever we are facing any problem in the skin, let's say there is a girl having acne problem, what they want the acne to go away, right? And has a very healthy skin. So what they have is hope, and that is how we divide it. H stands for hydration. So that is something which is needed. Then the next is O, which is having a proper oil balance in that skin. So this is another pillar that we have to look into. Third one is the protection. Protection means that the barrier is properly there and it should be intact. Otherwise, what will happen, that any invading bacteria, which is not a good bacteria, it's a bad bacteria, can cause the infection. So we need protection. And the third one, which is very critical, is ecosystem. The ecosystem of that cells, the healthy cells, and having the dead layer, the stratum corneum, which is resides on the top, and the microbiome, the good bacteria which reside. So this hope is needed to have that healthy skin, which is resilient, having the proper barrier. And if all these are done, then only we'll be able to see that the skin remains clean, proper, which is everybody hope to have. Talking about different ingredients that we have, or rather that we use, where you just pick up any bottle of skincare or cosmetic product, you will see a long list of ingredients that they may range from 5, 10, 15, 20, and sometimes even more than that. Why so many ingredients are added? Now these ingredients are also playing a role with each other. Now let me bring one more critical concept which is very well established in pharma world, is the synergism. We have this word where we can say, in Hindi we call it as ek aur ek 11, right? This we have already learned. In simple words, if we put it, we call it as synergism, where if we are having two molecules added together, they perform better than they are individually used. If we are having 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, we call it as additive effect. They are just adding on. But if the effect is 1 plus 1 is more than 2, we call it as synergism. And that is how most of the therapies which are in pharma, wherein we combine molecules in such a way that we see a better impact. Let me take you back to the initial discussion that we have, that the professor came in and we have that circle drawn, lot many lines in that, and all are crossing over each other. Now, there could be a one molecule that is following one path for the treatment. There could be another molecule that is forming another path. And both of them, when joined together, when provided together, is showing the impact, which is much more than individually given or just adding one-on-one in that. So this is what these molecules also do when we talk about the skincare. Can we apply those concepts over here as well? Let's say we need hydration, which is the first H, and which hyaluronic acid, how much molecular weight there should be, and the right amount. Then we have other molecules come in. We need the protection over there so that the barrier properties remain intact. So the ceramides are the one that can very well explore to do that. Then we have another molecule which is vitamin C, a very good antioxidant. And when we talk about these molecules also, it's not only vitamin C. If you pick up the bottles again and try to see which vitamin C is added in that, how much that will go inside the skin, so that also makes a lot of difference. So combining these molecules, combining these actives in the right proportion so that they can work synergistically is the key over here in the formulation science. Another concept that we work with is how they are made. My better half cooks food at the home, and if I go outside in the restaurant, we have a different taste then we are having food at home, and at different places we have different tastes. The same thing. Now, why those different tastes are there? If the person is adding the same ingredients, same everything inside, if my mother-in-law is serving food to us, the taste is different. My wife is cooking, the taste is different. Why? And if I'm cooking, the taste is totally different. So why that? Same ingredients, same materials, taste is different. Is the formulation science. How it is added, when it is added, the temperature, everything makes a difference in formulation, and that is having the impact. And that is where the formulation science comes into the picture.
Fascinating to really understand the science behind all of this, right? And great that you've really simplified all of this for us to understand. So now when you talk about building a trust in skincare, which is one of the ultimate things that you also sort of propose to do with consumers at the end of the day, how do you sort of control quality on that front? And even in terms of keeping your claims clear to the consumer that you are grounded in skin science? Because again, like we've been saying, there's so many products out there in the market, all of them coming up with tall claims. So what is your philosophy there in terms of building consumer trust?
One thing that we truly believe in, and we are so much vested into it, that we should, what we are putting in, we'll only talk about that. Number one, what we are putting in. And we should not overpromise anything. We should not say that this will do this thing or that thing. And over the years that we have imbibed, again from the education background that we come in, we cannot say that this drug is working wonders until it is working. When that mindset is there, we build that in the skincare, our in-skin as well, that we should not say anything or overpromise anything. The quality of the products, what we are putting in, from where we are resourcing, there are all checks and balances at each and every stage, right from the resourcing, then formulation development. All the iterations are done several times to get the final product, then the stability of those products and the safety. So all these have been done, checked, verified, only then it goes to the next stage. Now coming on to the product side, that we are looking at all these aspects, but trust is something that we are building on, and it starts at our home itself. There's a small story in this, because when we started working on these products, my better half asked me. My better half is also a professor in one of the leading institutions in India. She asked me one thing, that Deepak, why you are doing this thing? You are from the pharma and now you are going into skincare. And skincare, she doesn't trust. And if I'm making products, she said that lot many things people are adding, do they actually work? And she is not a fan of cosmetics. She doesn't use. Very minimal and all natural. That homemade remedies. I said that let us try, because we are already deep rooted in science. We know the pharma concepts. We have made so many products. Why not to venture into it and see what happens? And she said, "Theek hai, you want to do it, you do it." We did our first batch. We prepared the first product, which is an anti-aging product. That's from where we started. And the first batch I started using it. After 20-25 days, she asked me, though you don't need a product and the skin is also fine, it's good, but she noticed that there is a change, which is visibly, she can, make it out. And then she asked the products. It was that day. And now she is one of our loyal customers in that. She's, using it continuously, and the products which you are making, and all the products, whenever they come in, they simply picked it. Now she want to try this one and use it. So it starts from the home. And then another thing that comes to my mind, since you raised this trust point, one of our staff, right, who is handling major operations, all these things in the in-skin side, and how from where the procurement is done and all that stuff. She called me one day and said, Deepak, I want to confess one thing to you. Okay, I thought something had happened. I need to work it out. She said, no, don't worry about it. What she said, that I'm a huge fan of another brand. I'm using it continuously. Though these products are there in our office, I have taken some of them to my home also, but they are just lying on my shelf. I've never used it. But now I've started using it. And I've really seen the difference which we were talking about. And that day I realized that getting that trust is not easy. But if we keep on doing what we are doing, and if we believe in ourselves, that this science, we can make it and we can bring it out. At least if a person try it for once, they will hook to it. And if they visibly see the difference, then definitely it is going to make. One thing which I want to put it over here, that these things do not work immediately. You may not see the effect the next morning. If you apply a night gel and see that next morning everything is changed, it is not going to happen that way. There are quick fixes though that can do that. But when we are talking about the balance in the skin, it takes time to achieve it. It's not that for so many years we have not taken care of the skin and one fine day we started applying some magical products and it will work. No, it is not going to work that way. it has to be used, and there should be some, you can say, you have to follow a routine of using it, and then definitely these the visible impact you can see on that.
Interesting and very valid points that you brought up there, right? It takes time to build consumer trust as well, and great that you're seeing some of those tangible customer feedback also coming in.
We look into the first principles, why it is happening, what is the reason behind it, and we keep on challenging the assumptions, because most of the times when we set out a hypothesis and try to, by doing the experimentation methodologically done, and we come out to some conclusions, again we challenge that why it is happening that way. While doing research, one of the professor told me one thing, that if you get a wrong result, do it twice, repeat that. If you get the right result, do it thrice. Reason being, when it is easy to reject anything, but if you're bringing it ahead, you have to be double sure about it. And that is deep rooted. And that is coming from the academic mindset. We try to challenge ourselves, we try to challenge the results which are getting, even if we are getting the results which are supposed to be.
You operate both on your own platform as well as e-commerce channels, InSkin being a D2C brand at the end of the day. Tell us what the next phase of growth looks like for you. How do you sort of see your brand changing the industry at large?
We are in direct relationship with the customer. And one thing we value more is a customer feedback, because that is going to have the end impact. One thing I've learned during my academic journey is the feedback. It is already structured in the academic system, where the students give a feedback to the faculty, the teacher who is teaching them, and then accordingly improvisation is happening. And this is for the betterment, that next time when the students are coming, the next batch is coming, we can see where we lagged and what are the good points that we should continue. This feedback is very important for us. And here also, we are bringing in that how we can collect those feedback from our customers as well. In pharma, we use the term pharmacovigilance. If something is not going right, how to report it? How we can get that structured feedback? Can we do it in the cosmetic segment as well? So again, we have cosmetovigilance, and we are developing, or rather in fact we have that channel by which the customer can provide their feedback, be it positive as well as negative, so that we can improvise and we can see what is happening, and if it is happening, what has gone wrong in it. Because skin, when we say right now, all the skincare brands that we look around, we see that they are more broad in terms of the customer. The science is moving more towards more and more personalized. Is your skin and my skin are same, or my skin and another person's skin is same? The answer is no. We can see structurally that these are the things, but there are differences. Can we make it more personalized? And hence the impact of the products could also be different. A person may see an anti-aging effect of the product, but the other person may see a lesser effect. That can do happen. In order to understand those things, that why it has shown better impact in one and a less impact in the other, until and unless we understand both the persons, we will not be able to look at the product and improvise, and cannot make it more personalized. So feedback is very important, and we have bring in this cosmetovigilance in our product where these feedback could be given in a very structured way, and we can work on it and improvise, so that next line of skincare or improvised skincare could be provided. Sometimes we do also get very surprising feedback, so that is what we are looking forward to also, that having those feedbacks by way of our own channel, having the in-skin cosmetovigilance, so that they can provide those feedbacks, and be it good or be it bad. So we are always open for all the discussions and how we can do better. Next phase, if we look, is the science, wherein we are deeply rooted, and that knowledge is ever evolving. It is increasing every other day. We are getting new ingredients which are coming up. We keep on learning about those and how they can better work, keeping the customer in mind, what they need, and then matching. And that is where we are moving forward to, having more deep science rooted personalized care that we can provide.
Talking about feedback, and you mentioned personalized care as well, that brings me to the question of how do you actually do that, right? Do you then, there is skincare and then there's the technology behind that. You also run a firm called Zernyx Innovation. So take us through how Zernyx really fits into this larger vision where you're talking about improvisation and innovation.
Okay, so Zernyx Innovation is my second venture that we started last year. But the seeds for Zernyx has been sowed few years back. Being in the academic setting and also being the entrepreneur, what I've realized, that there is a huge gap in terms of technology, and we are moving towards deep science. At the academic setting, and many of my fellow researchers, scientists also concur with me, that we do a lot of research, and where that research is going. that is just lying in the research papers or the intellectual property patents that have been filed. And trust me, every scientist want their research to go to the market so that the society can benefit. This is one side of the story. On the other side, in the industry, if we interact and talk to them, the question over there and there always look out for good technologies, how they can adopt that. So that is a critical question they always put forward to. The reason is that both of them understand different language. Scientists, researchers, they are deep rooted in science, so they convey their messages in science. On the other side, industry look at the market. Their language is totally different, which is a business language. So this is where the Zernyx play a role. Zernyx herein we have two verticals. First vertical is on the technology scouting side, wherein we have all the technologies mined, mapped, and then using a natural language processing, just using a simple chatbot like you are doing in any of the AI tool, you can simply just put on what you want. It can bring out those technologies in the form of cards, and you can just further go deeper into it and understand in a very simple to understand language. On one side, the researchers can put in their technologies. On the other side, the industries can easily look for those technologies, and Zernyx in between can help in those transactions, helping in finding those technologies. And in skincare itself, when we dig deep into it, we also found that there are many things already happening in India. Many people are working, researchers are working on it, but why it is not coming out is the reason what I have put forth, because of the barrier in those understanding. So, and this basically goes forward for making these technologies to reach to the market. Another vertical is once we have a technology which we have found, particularly in the healthcare segment or in the life science segment, how to take it ahead. You need a facility where the piloting could be done, prototyping could be done. So this is a second vertical in Zernyx that is built with the required infrastructure, wherein we can run our research and development, we can enhance that. And when we talk about deep science, it requires dedicated facility to understand and run those things and have the experiments run and the data generated and the proper analysis. So this is what Zernyx is doing. We look forward to bringing deep tech into the skin care to have the benefits so that the society can utilize that.
Right, so building an ecosystem around this entire process as well. Now, to wrap it off, Dr. Deepak, what would you say is the next big shift, or what would really define the next big innovation in skincare? And what are the probably new products that you are sort of exploring within InSkin as well?
Keeping the marketing innovation on one side, because we can see there is a lot of innovation happening on the marketing side and reaching to the customer. I'll talk about two components. One is on the diagnostic side. There is a lot of work that is being done on the diagnostic, particularly in the skincare segment, and on the product innovation. When we talk about the diagnostic innovation, and again towards more personalized therapy, can we have just click a image, upload it, and it can give you the entire skin condition, whether it is hydrated or poorly hydrated, the pigmentation is proper or not, the acne, and all those conditions can be easily diagnosed using the available tools, be it AI or data analytics, and then getting all the necessary information. So this is where the future is moving, and in fact many are working in this direction, and we can see down the line it is becoming more and more personalized. And once that is properly diagnosed, then the recommendations, and on the recommendation the right products that could be used for that particular condition, which is coming from the diagnostic. So this is in one direction, the innovation is happening using all the available tools, and we know that every other day we are seeing new AI models coming up which are better and better. On the other side, when we talk about the product innovation, the innovation on the product side is multidimensional. One is having the good new better ingredients that performs better than the existing one. Secondly, having the ingredients working together, having synergism in them, and designing newer products around it, which are more personalized. Let me give you one example over here. We talked about the skin biology, wherein there are many cells which are interacting with each other. An entire ecosystem is there, which is in balance, which is in harmony. But a question to be asked over here, that how they are interacting. How one cell, because it is not moving and going to the other place. We can go to our neighbor or our relatives and talk to them. But how the cell are talking to each other? They are sending out signals. Signals which says that we are good. Signals that say we need repair. And then the entire cycle starts. Now, if the skin is damaged, those signals are coming out. If the skin is also proper, those signaling is happening. Now, can we bring that also into the skincare? And the answer is yes over there. For example, we have these stem cells. These stem cells, they secrete these signals. Broadly, we call it as scritosome, or we have exosomes. Can we have those scritome into the products and deliver it for a healthy skin in a very personalized way? That is where the things are moving. There could be another direction. We talk about the good bacteria. There have been a lot of talk about gut microbiome, but skin also have microbiome. And let's say there is a person suffering from acne, where some infection had happened or the bad bacteria is sitting over there. Why it has come? Because there's that defense system of a good bacteria along with the barrier is somehow imbalanced. So can we provide certain nutrients, or can we provide that bacteria itself, which is a good bacteria, at that location, and then start restoring that balance? That is another area where things are moving in, products are being built in that direction. So these are some of the key product innovations which are happening in the space. Moving down the line, what I see that these diagnostic tools wherein we can detect the skin condition in a personalized way can move along with the product innovation to give the product recommendations, and merging together would be great.
On that note, thank you so much, Dr. Deepak. It's truly been a masterclass, really, in understanding skin biology and the fact that you're also deep rooted in your formulation process as well, and a lot of takeaways for the consumers as well in terms of what to consider before sort of selecting a skincare product. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Shivani.